As icy winds howled through the night, a family sat shivering in their stranded car, fear and desperation etched on their faces. Just when hope seems lost, a familiar figure appeared through the snow. What Travis Kelce did next will leave you speechless and show how one act of kindness can change everything. This is a story you won't want to miss. The wind howled through the empty streets of a small rural town, carrying with it icy shards of snow that stung like needles. At the edge of a dimly lit gas station, a car sat parked, its windows frosted over. Inside, a family of 4 huddled together, their breaths visible in the frigid air. The father, David, rubbed his hands together, trying to generate warmth, while his wife, Sarah, wrapped a thin blanket around their 2 children in the back seat. "Daddy, I'm cold," whispered their youngest, a little girl with tear-filled eyes. "I know, sweetheart. We'll figure something out," David replied, his voice strained as he looked at the gas gauge hovering just above empty. Meanwhile, Travis Kelce was driving back from a charity event in the nearby city. His truck's tires crunched over the fresh layer of snow as he slowed to refuel. Pulling into the gas station, he noticed the car parked in the corner. Something felt off. The windows were fogged, and the car's engine wasn't running, yet the silhouettes of people inside were unmistakable. Travis stepped out of his truck and walked toward the station, glancing back at the car. Just as he reached the pump, he saw David step out, shivering violently, his breath forming clouds in the freezing air. The man tried unsuccessfully to start the car again, then leaned against the hood in visible defeat. Travis's instincts kicked in. "Hey, man," he called out, approaching cautiously. "Everything okay here?" David hesitated, clearly embarrassed. "We, ran out of gas. Just trying to figure it out." The desperation in David's voice was hard to miss. Travis glanced at the frost-covered car, where Sarah was trying to keep their children warm, and he knew he had to step in. Travis crouched slightly to meet David's eyes, his breath visible in the icy air. "How long have you been out here?" he asked, concern etched on his face. "Too long," David admitted, his voice cracking with exhaustion. "We were trying to get to my brother's place a couple of towns over. The storm hit harder than we expected." Travis nodded, glancing toward the gas pump. Snowflakes clung to his coat as he said, "All right, let's get you some fuel and get that heater running." He headed into the gas station to pay, but the clerk shook his head with an apologetic grimace. "Sorry, man. The pumps are frozen solid. Generator's been out since the storm started, and we can't get them working." The news hit like a punch. Travis returned to the car, where Sarah was attempting to comfort their shivering children. Her face fell as he relayed the bad news, and she tightened the thin blanket around the kids. "We'll be fine," she said weakly, though her trembling hands betrayed her fear. "No way I'm leaving you all like this," Travis said firmly, his voice leaving no room for argument. He walked back to his truck, pulled out spare blankets, and grabbed a portable phone charger. Handing them over, he added, "First, let's get you warm and connected. We'll figure out the rest." David tried to protest, his pride pushing through the exhaustion. "We can't ask for all this. You've already done enough." Travis placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "It's not about asking. It's about doing what's right." As the family bundled up with the blankets, The frost on their car looked like an unyielding shield, almost mocking their plight. Travis knelt to inspect the vehicle, brushing ice off the headlights. He called a tow service, but the storm had delayed help across the county. Travis's jaw tightened. "We can't wait on them," he said decisively. "I'll tow you myself to a motel I passed earlier. It's not far, and we'll get you out of this cold." David hesitated, looking at his family before nodding. "Thank you. I don't know what we'd do without you." "Let's go," Travis said, his tone calm yet commanding. "Stay close behind me. We'll make it together." The drive to the motel was tense and fraught with uncertainty. The snowstorm continued to rage, with heavy flakes battering the windshield and reducing visibility to a few feet. Travis's truck moved cautiously, the sound of tires crunching against the icy road echoing through the stillness. Behind him, David's car, tethered by a tow chain, swayed slightly on the slick surface, adding to the anxiety. Inside their vehicle, Sarah clutched her children tightly. The youngest buried her face in her mother's coat, her small frame trembling. "It's going to be okay," Sarah whispered, her voice steady despite her own fears. David gripped the steering wheel with white-knuckled intensity, his jaw set as he concentrated on keeping the car steady. Suddenly, the car slid slightly, the back wheels skidding on a patch of black ice. The children gasped, and Sarah let out an involuntary cry. David's heart pounded as he fought to regain control. Up ahead, Travis noticed the movement in his rearview mirror and immediately slowed his truck, his voice crackling through the window. "Just stay steady. We're almost there," he called out, his tone calm and reassuring. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the faint glow of the motel's neon vacancy sign came into view. It flickered against the backdrop of swirling snow, a beacon of hope. Travis pulled into the lot, carefully guiding the family's car into a safe spot. Once parked, he jumped out and helped them out of the vehicle, his breath fogging in the cold air. Inside the warm lobby, Travis approached the front desk. He handed his credit card to the clerk. "They'll need a few nights," he said firmly. "Put it on me." David's eyes widened as he tried to protest. "This is too much. We can't let you." Travis raised a hand, cutting him off. "It's not too much," he said, his voice filled with conviction. "I've been in tough spots before. Someone helped me, and now it's my turn." As the family settled into the cozy room, Travis sat with David for a moment. "What's been going on?" he asked gently. David exhaled deeply, his shoulders slumping under the weight of his burden. "I lost my job a few months ago. We were hoping to start fresh with my brother, but everything's gone wrong. It feels like I've failed my family." Travis shook his head. "You didn't fail," he said firmly. "You're here, doing whatever it takes to keep them safe. That's not failure, that's strength." The next morning, Travis called a local mechanic to repair the family's car. While waiting, he spoke to the motel owner and arranged for a few more nights, knowing the storm wasn't letting up soon. Before leaving, Travis handed David an envelope. "There's a gas card in here and a little extra for anything else you might need. You've got this, man." David opened his mouth to argue, but stopped when he saw the sincerity in Travis's eyes. "I don't know how to thank you," he said, his voice breaking. "You don't have to," Travis replied. "Just promise me one thing. When you're back on your feet, help someone else who needs it." David nodded, his eyes glistening with tears. I will. Days later, the motel owner shared the story on social media, praising Travis's generosity. The post went viral, with fans and strangers alike applauding his actions. Comments poured in, calling him a hero and an inspiration. One morning, Travis received a handwritten letter from David's family. It read, "Because of you, we made it safely to my brother's home. The kids are warm, and we have hope again. You reminded us that there's kindness in the world." The story didn't end there. Inspired by Travis's actions, the local community started a fund to help others stranded during the harsh winter. David eventually found work through a connection made at the motel, proving that one act of kindness could spark a chain reaction of change. The video ends with Travis reflecting on the moment. Sometimes, it's not about doing something big. It's about showing up when it matters.